All right, well, thanks everybody for joining us today. I'm John Mitchell. I'm the president of Repfabric. Many of you know us, many of you are customers, some of you don't know us, some of you aren't customers. But what we wanted to do today was to bring to you a lot of insights that we've gained throughout several years of being in the quote unquote CRM business and in the CRM and accounting platform business. And as we've all been adapting to this new world of COVID-19, not being able to be out and be in front of customers in the physical ways that we used to by driving to their accounts and their locations, we thought it'd be a good idea to bring to you some of the best practices from industry leaders around how to email cold contacts and how to get your emails through to those people that often you've maybe never had a chance to get to. And so today we're blessed to have Shawn, CEO of Autoklose. Autoklose is a major sales engagement platform focused in this type of product. Shawn's actually a pretty storied guy. He started 2 companies and was in sales for about 15 years as well, and also a pro tennis player. Where Shawn, I guess you got to play against some of the big names and part of the class of Federer and all those guys. So he's got that competitive spirit just like you guys do as reps, and you know, I think he'll fit right in. And today he's going to share with us a lot of the knowledge that his company has been gaining throughout the process of emailing, what was it, 50,000 to 100,000 emails a day typically out to people, and understanding what, you know, what's getting through to people, what's not getting through to people. And this spans a lot of different, you know, a lot of different pieces. So before we get really rolling into the presentation, I just want to make a couple more announcements. First thing is, our upcoming webinar series. So what we've been trying to do, since everybody's in the office, we've been trying to put together some good content every week. Yesterday, we just finished the COVID-19 Manufacturers Rep Business Recovery. If you didn't get a chance to attend that, check back with our website, and Repfabric customers, it'll be posted in our tutorial section. It was very well received by a lot of folks. We had the former president of MANA there talking with us about that. Secondly, tomorrow, for those of you that don't know anything about Repfabric, whether you're new employees at a rep firm that uses Repfabric, or if you're just somebody who heard about what we were doing, want to come see what we do as a company, come join us tomorrow at 2:30 for a quick little overview of our product. Lastly, on May 4th, which is the Monday following next week, we are going to have John Vrablich from Tips for Reps. So Tips for Reps is John's company, basically specializes in employee engagement, transition plans, buyouts, etc. So he's going to present to us some of the findings and some of the latest legislation around basically the CARES Act and what kind of tax credits are available to you beyond the PPP and the EIDL. And he's going to take us through some of that. And he's also going to relate that back to the key people and the employees that you want to make sure, you know, however bad this gets, you can ideally keep. And some of that's driven by non-financial compensation. And then, you know, furthermore, how do you keep heads in the game when we're all out of our normal path? So hope you guys can make both of those. And now let's get started. So like I mentioned, we wanted to bring to you guys some of the tool sets and some of the best practices that you can use today, because quite frankly, your customers are out of their daily whirlwind. So now is actually a really good time to get in touch with them. Many of the folks that you might be calling on that are specifiers or engineering types are at home doing their same work, but you can actually get to them now. Whereas before, maybe you couldn't get past the lobby to figure out who they are. The way you do that, and as reps, we're very adaptive, right? We're very reactive and adaptive to new situations. The way you do that may have to change. And so today, what we're bringing to you are some best practices on how you can use essentially cold emailing to open up doors for that engineer that maybe was always in the back room that you could never get to, or maybe that vice president that you could never actually talk to, you know, at a big distributor, for example. So this is what we're doing, and Shawn Finder today is going to go ahead and present the information. If you want to stay connected with Shawn, definitely highly recommend it. He's got a tremendous blog following that is north of, I think, 50,000 people, with some great advice in there too. So be sure to check him out and Autoklose as well. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started. So a couple of things that we're going to go through. what's the difference between email marketing, and that's the classic email mass blast, right? So most of you are probably familiar, you may not be doing it yet, but you might be familiar with mass blast systems where you're sending out thousands of emails in one shot versus a sales engagement tool, which is a one-on-one email that's very personalized. We're going to talk about those differences. We're going to talk about how to write perfect emails. So Shawn has the benefit of having, as I mentioned, put out probably 1 billion emails over the course of his company, and they know what works and what doesn't work. And we're going to go through some of those best practices. Last but not least, the do's and don'ts of sales outreach. Where are you going to get blacklisted? Where are you going to get put into spam? What are some of the things that work? What are some of the things that don't work? And then I'm going to talk a little bit about how you make these targeted lists. Which of your distributors are buying this product? Which of your distributors are, how many people are interested in this piece of electrical engineering, for example. So we're going to go through that. And with that, I'm going to let Shawn take over with part 1.
Perfect. Thanks so much, John, and happy to be here with everyone today. So right when I get started, I want to talk about, what is the difference between email marketing and sales engagement? We get this asked a lot, and there is a big difference. Email marketing is where you're sending thousands of emails, and you're going to have you're going to send thousands of emails, but you're looking at more what the action is of those people. Where sales engagement is taking that action, that click-through rate, and trying to really drive them through the funnel to end up making the sale. So here's a screenshot of what you can see between email marketing and sales engagement. So on the left-hand side, you see a 3% click rate. And what that means is when you're sending out those cold emails, you're only getting 3% of those people that are clicking through whatever your call to action would be. Whereas on the right-hand side, when you send that personalized email, your click rate goes up to 8%. And that's a big difference. So that's almost double the opportunities for you at the top of the sales funnel. So that is one of the biggest differences. But I want to go through more advantages and disadvantages. So let's first talk about email marketing platforms. And a lot of you know your MailChimps, your Constant Contacts. And why they are good is, yes, you can send mass email in the thousands, even the tens of thousands. It's easy to design nice images, but these are more used for blogs, newsletters. I would say more marketing than for sales reps who really, at the end of the day, want to make money and hit their quota. So some of the disadvantages, and this is the biggest one, you are sharing on one server. So what does that mean? We're gonna go through that in a little bit, but I wanna explain that. Everybody in the world that is using MailChimp are all sending the emails directly from the MailChimp servers. So if you are all sending it from there, Google, Microsoft are very smart. So what happens to your emails? Your emails are actually going into promotion and marketing folders. Secondly, your bounce rate. Now, what is a bounce rate? Your bounce rate means that person might no longer work at that company. So if you have a high bounce rate, so let's say you send 100 emails or 1,000 emails and 10% of those people no longer work at the company, which we all know what's going on with the economy right now, that people are losing their jobs, you will actually be kicked off an email marketing platform. So cold email is actually forbidden from MailChimp and Constant Contact, and those are the big disadvantages for sales reps.
So Shawn, if I could just add a little color commentary there.
Yeah.
I think for we as reps, what that really means is that things like newsletters, your manufacturer's new product announcements, for example, don't always get into the eyeballs of the people that you're intending them to see, mainly because, as you point out, when you're using mass blast systems, they are now being cordoned off into marketing and promotional folders. So a lot of times when you're doing things, even that are things like price increases, which certainly there's going to be a lot of price volatility coming with COVID-19, those pieces are if you're really dependent upon making those price announcements to distributors, sometimes things like MailChimp and Constant Contact may not be the best because you might not get the eyeballs on it. Am I correct in saying that, Shawn?
Yeah, and John, just to add on that, I don't know about you, but whenever I receive an email and it has a huge, pretty image, right away I know that wasn't personalized. That was sent to thousands of people, and it's almost like they're just trying to throw a dart. Where when you do that sales engagement, when you do that text email, it's a lot more personalized. And I don't know, for me personally, I'm a lot more likely to reply to a text email than a nice imaged email. So let's go through some of the sales engagement platform, some of the advantages and disadvantages. So advantages, you can automate follow-ups and tedious tasks. So what does that mean? You can send 5, 6, 8 emails over the next 45 days to those prospects. And once they reply, they're automatically removed from the sequence. It helps you follow up because following up is the key to getting a reply or a click in an email.
So Shawn, one example I'd like to point out is, let's say you sold injection molding services, for example, and you have a list of 5 or 10 buyers at different companies that you believe would buy that type of product. Well, you know, by creating one of these campaigns, as you're pointing out, in a sales engagement platform, you can continuously send 4 to 6 follow-up emails until eventually that buyer perhaps relents, replies back to you and says, hey, you know, timing's a little bit better now. We might be interested in a new vendor. Come sell us your stuff. Come tell us what you do, right?
Yeah, 100%. And not only that, John, you know, it takes sometimes 6 to 8 follow-ups to actually have that prospect reply to your email. So that's why this is very important for sales reps to make sure that they are following up. Personalized outreach directly from your server. So therefore, what that means is we connect directly to, if you're using Gmail, Outlook, GoDaddy, whatever you're using, the emails are going directly from you and not from a third party. Now, that is the biggest advantage you can have with a sales engagement platform, because your email will actually get into the inbox of the recipient, which at the end of the day helps your chances of getting that business. Targeted price product announcements. You can do product announcements, you know, price increases, all those sort of things in a personalized way is a lot better than sending it to the mass audience. So keeping that personal relationship is very important in those targeted announcements. And last thing,
I know for a lot of our distributor focused, you know, folks, what that really means is everybody's heard the distributor say, "Oh, I never got that price increase," right? Well, with systems like these, you can actually prove that they opened and saw the email that had the price increase on it.
Yeah, so. Yeah, exactly. And to your point, John, if you put an attachment with a price increase, you can actually see what they've clicked and the time they clicked, so they can't actually say they haven't received it because everything would be tracked inside the software.
Right.
And then a higher click rate and reply rate. The most important, if your call to action is A, to have them click on something, or B, to have them reply to your email, those are all advantages of sales engagement. Now, the disadvantages, you can only send a maximum of 500 emails per day. Is that a disadvantage? If you're personalizing your outreach, you should be probably in that sweet spot from 150 to 200 or even less. So you should never hit that, that amount. And another disadvantage is, you know, it's a bit more of a setup to set up your cadence, because if you're going to have 6, 8 follow-ups to that prospect, like John said, you're going to have to set those up and set up those emails in advance. And that would take you a little bit of time, but ideally, that's going to save you the time of actually following up. So here it is all in one diagram: email marketing versus sales engagement. The bottom, what you see is, you know, say the sales rep. And what he's trying to do is email 30 people that are in the picture at the top right. On the left-hand side, you have your email marketing that everybody has shared, and the emails are all going from MailChimps and Constant Contact servers, and they might end up and they might not be delivered to the people at the top there. On the right-hand side, they're all being emailed directly from you. So when they actually get emailed, all of those people in that little rectangle of people actually receive the email and they get it in their inbox. Now, that is the most important and the biggest difference between the two. And obviously, as sales reps, we want to hit the inbox because that's the only way we're going to be able to engage with that prospect. So I want to show you guys some metrics, and this was actually just taken right from MailChimp actually website and from our website. So manufacturing industry, the average open rate using an email marketing, you're looking at 19.82%. And click rate, you're looking at 2.18%. Now, click rate would mean they clicked on something, a link, your calendar, your website, something on your email. And then below, you'll see that using a personalized approach with a sales engagement tool will be triple the open rates. You're looking at about 63% and about 6 times the click rate, meaning whatever is actually clicking from your email marketing tool, 6 more people are clicking for every 1 click in your email marketing. And that's the biggest difference right there between the two.
Yeah, so Shawn, maybe just give real life math numbers, for example.
Yep. So let's say for example, we sent 100 emails from MailChimp. You're looking at 19 people that will open those emails, and you're looking at about 2 people that will actually click on your email. So out of 100, you're looking at 2. Now, at the bottom, what you're seeing is if you send 100 emails, 63 people will open and 13 people will actually click on that. So therefore, you're going to have 13 prospects that you can reach back out to and follow up with versus only 2.
Yeah, that's great. And guys, as I mentioned early on, this is really about being able to, most of us as reps, a lot of us are calling on the same people over and over again. So tools like these are really designed to help get you where you aren't today. And but they can be very effective for keeping people apprised who you already do know of kind of the current situation and the current products that you're offering. So this is when we're going to get into what the content or the payload of those emails would look like. And how do you author these types of things? So I'd like everybody to take a minute here. We're just going to pause for about 20 seconds. Go ahead and read this email and formulate in your mind, hey, how does this sound? What do I think about it? Okay. And now, now that you got that, it sounds pretty decent, right? It's not awful, not terrible. And I'm sure that all of us have written plenty of emails just like this. Well, let's apply what Shawn's findings are to this. And Shawn, I'm going to let you do that.
Perfect. So the first thing, subject line. If you see a subject line saying pipe and wire, there is no reason for me to even open that. Why? Because A, it sounds very salesy, but B, I don't even know what you're trying to what you're trying to sell me, what you're trying to ask me. So saying pipe and wire is just very not personalized, and it doesn't give much to the person to open. If I received something that said pipe and wire, to be honest, I don't believe I would even open it. That would be the first reason for me not to open that one. Second one, I hope all is well. It's very superficial. The one that I'm seeing right now is, hope you are safe. Something or something about COVID-19. To be honest, people, you have 3 seconds to get your buyer's attention. So what you don't want to do is use the words I hope all is well, because first of all, if they're using a mobile device, they're not going to see anything but pipe and wire, hope all is well. Before they even open the email, they know it's a sales email. The second thing I want to do is, we focus exclusively. You're talking about yourself. When you're writing an email, you want to hit your prospects' pain points. What are the challenges? How can you help? For example, another thing that I recognize here is, my company, Acme Associates. I always recommend in that first 3 seconds, hit them with a pain point. Say, I can save you 14% with your pipe and wire. Okay, well, if you can save me 14% in this market, I'm ready to listen. Something like that will get your buyer's attention, where right here, all you're doing is talking about yourself. And funny enough, I always bring this back to dating. If you go on a date with a girl and the girl is always, listening to you, you're talking 90% of the time and the girl's talking 10%, you're probably not going to get a second date. Our manufacturer like Pipeco and Market Wire. Benefit to the reader? Is there any benefit? Again, you're talking about yourself. You're talking about your wide product range. The whole thing you want to do with email is get them to say, you know what, John, I want 15 minutes of your time. Yes, I'm interested. You're not going to make your quota. You're not going to sell on that email. The whole point is to engage them, to try and make them give you that time of day on the call after that email sequence goes out. So there's no benefit to the reader with that paragraph right there. Okay, so there's a big difference. That's not bad, because now you're talking about the differences. You're educating the recipient. Educating them and teaching them and consulting with them is the best way. For example, if there's a new product on the market, or there's a new article that just came out that you read that you think would be good for your buyer, expand on that. That stuff is great for them. See, here you're not talking about yourself, you're trying to educate them. And I think that's why this paragraph, which is so far down the email, is great. But the problem is your recipient's not going to even get there because they're going to not read the email after you write, I hope all is well in my company, ... And lastly, well, we have two more. Please respond directly to this email. It's just not, it's very impersonal. You want to keep it personalized. You want to almost build that relationship with them over email. You want to make them feel like you guys know each other. By saying, please respond directly to this email, it's very straightforward and not personalized enough.
All right.
And the last one, and this is the most important, you don't want to make your prospect think. So I know a lot of people say, please reply to this email, or here's my phone number, or you can email me, or you can visit my website, or you can schedule an appointment. Give them one call to action. You decide what that call to action is. Is that call to action you want them to reply to the email? Then make that your call to action. Is it that you want them to call you? Now, here you say also, please call me at 1-844. Always, never give a 1-800 number, a 188 number. Always give your personalized cell phone because it's very impersonal to give someone a 1-800 number to your business, for example, to reach out. So always give your direct number, cell phone, if you're reaching out an email. So cold email subject lines. This is another great topic, and I love this because, as I've mentioned before, if your prospect's not going to like your subject line, they're not going to even get to open or click. So the first one, do you handle pipe and wire at your company? Or do you handle the manufacturing or the distributing? Why is that great? Because getting the referral is the best call to action. Therefore, if they are not the right decision maker, they're going to introduce you to the decision maker, which is going to be key for you. Because then you could say, hey, John asked me to reach out to you, and there you go. And they're more likely to reply to you now that John asked you to reach out than if you were just cold emailing. The next one, John, quick question about your 2020 pipe and wire costs. You put your goal in there. And right now, especially, everyone's trying to save money. People are going to reply to that email. Your yearly target, for example, talk about regulatory appliances, any delivery, sales, etc. Are you struggling with the pain point? Always talk about the pain point, because if you can hit their pain point, they will reply. And we're going to talk in a little bit about how you hit their pain point and how each person, a manufacturer versus an engineer versus a distributor, each might have different pain points. But you want to establish credibility, showing you know their business, and tell them you've helped companies A, B, C in the past. Referral name, John Mitchell suggested I reach out. Well, I'm friends with John Mitchell, so I'm going to reply. And lastly, this is a good one. You can be a little bit funny. Tom, it's seriously time to fire Stevie Wonder, or hashtag this is just a cold email usually works as well. And actually, what we're talking, I know, John, we were talking about one of the funny stories about subject lines that worked for me. I actually reached out to somebody who was a big company in the US, and I reached out to the company and I said to them, actually it was a cold call, and I said, can I speak to Mike? And they go, well, Mike's the CEO, he doesn't take any calls. Tell him it's the IRS calling, I need 5 minutes of his time. And what that actually did was, it got me the 5 minutes with the CEO. And first thing he said, listen, this is a cold call. It was my only way to get a hold of you. Will you give me 45 seconds? And what the CEO said to me goes, you have 30 seconds, go, because you were so creative. And then I had that 30-second elevator pitch. So don't be scared to be out of the box and be creative. Yeah. I know John liked that one.
I know. That cojones.
Okay, so this is important. We were talking about how to get emails delivered and the difference between email marketing and sales engagement. But even if you use either tool, you can't have spam words in your content. So what have we done? We actually highlight spam words for people so that you have to change them. Because who would have guessed the per day, the word get, the word access, the word great are all spam words. I never knew. So what happens is when you type in those words, They will be highlighted, so you can adjust those so that you have less than, hopefully 1 to 2 spam words in your content. So it also helps increase your deliverability. So how do you stay out of spam? 4 steps I want to tell you, and these are proven because, as I said, we've sent millions and millions of emails. Your email should not be images only and have a good image to text ratio. I actually believe you should have about 80% text, and maybe in your signature, a picture of you should be the image. Avoid spam words. Free, discount, offer. All of those words are spam words. Even though you're trying so hard to tell them you're giving something to them, try and find a word that doesn't land you into spam. I know, some of the stuff we were talking about is having too many links and too many attachments. Links are a lot, and a lot of people don't understand. If you look at your signature in your email right now, your email signature, you might have your website, your email, and other stuff linked. Don't link them, because if you have more links in your email, you might end up in that promotions, marketing, or spam folder. And lastly, which is one that a lot of people make the mistake, say you're reaching out to a big company and you want to prospect to 10 people that work in that company, don't email all 10 at the same time with any solution. And the reason why is they're smart, they have firewalls, etc., that see the same email going to 10 different recipients at, for example, ABC Manufacturing. Don't do it. It will land you into spam, and the last thing you want to do is get the spam, because we want you to get those emails delivered and obviously close more business.
And Shawn, one of the things that we talked a little bit about was the idea of your domain reputation, right? Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so your domain reputation is very important. And what you want to do with your domain reputation is, even if you're going to jump into a tool like ours, you don't want to be emailing 200, 300 per day if in the past you were only emailing, say, 25 per day. So what your domain reputation is you want to slowly increase your sending per day, but also decrease the amount of spam. Because what Google, what all these companies do is they put you into buckets. And by you sending good emails that have no spam, not too many links, puts you in the 95 plus bucket, where Google says, wow, they're sending good emails that aren't spammy, that are going to land in the inbox. So you want to make sure right from the beginning you take all those precautions so you get put in those, so that your domain authority doesn't get hurt, and you can continue to send many, many emails from your domain and get conversions.
And Shawn, that's collective across your team too, right? You can, it's your overall company web domain that matters, and how many emails are getting sent from that. So that includes your inside people, the outside team, et cetera, right?
Yeah, so I mean, typically, it's 1 or 2 people on a team can't really kill the domain, but if you have a few people, like we have a 20-person company and 10 people are sending and have a high bounce rate or are sending a lot of spammy stuff, it could hurt your domain. But if you have 1 or 2, it won't hurt it that much. But at the end of the day, you want to just keep your emails clean. You want to send as many emails as possible. So it's very important to keep your domain clean at the same time.
Thanks.
So this is one of the most important things. This is something that I actually sat down with our sales reps and we discussed, is that every person you are emailing, A, could have a different personality type, B, might have a different pain point or challenge. Therefore, when you are writing, for example, a manufacturer versus a distributor versus an engineer, each person will have a different pain, but each person will also have a different game. So what does that mean? That means someone that might be an engineer might be more of an introvert personality. So you want to make sure that you are probably explaining yourself more and providing education and maybe some proof of concept to an engineer, where a distributor might be looking for potentially, the best price. They might be looking through, okay, we have 5 different products and we want to see what the best price is. So each person and a manufacturer might just be looking to sell to as many products as possible to different retailers. So you want to make sure your copy and your buyer understands your copy by what you are writing to them in the email. Your email is so important. You can't be writing the same thing to a CEO versus a sales rep, as we know that won't work. So let's go through some of the best practices. 33% of email recipients open your email based on only your subject line. Therefore, your subject line is very important. And what I also recommend is keep your subject line between 3 to 5 words, because 74% of people actually open emails on their mobile device. Second, 40% of emails are opened, as I said, on mobile device first, but 70% overall go on their emails. So keep everything within a certain amount of words. Personalization, increase your open rate by 21%. And I'm talking sometimes the best email is just, hi, John, hi, Shawn, and let them open the email to find out what you actually want to send instead of doing, like our example was, pipe and wire. I know John liked the alert. This is something you can use for price increases. This is something you can for new product launches. It increases your open rate by 61%. So if you do have a product launch or you do have a price increase, use that alert because it will get opened. And lastly, replying in the same threads, that means having the RE in front because you're sending the follow-up second, third, fourth email is so powerful. Because people, as I said, are very busy. They might not respond to your first email. So as you send that second, third, fourth, fifth follow-up, having the RE or the RE in front, re-follow-up, re-price increase, just checking in really works very well. Part 3, the do's and the don'ts for email outreach. I think this is going to surprise a few of you. The do, your signature is almost like a resume when getting a job. It's so important. Make sure it's clean. Make sure you have, I always say, have a picture. Make sure you give all the different ways they can get a hold of you. If you have social, make sure they have social, because nowadays people go on social to see who you are. And especially now when everyone's double downing on email, as everyone's under lockdown and not in the office, email and your signature is very important. Don't make it all about you. We talked about this. I hate seeing emails saying, hi, I'm Shawn Finder and I'm a manufacturing rep, or hi, I can help you with this, or I can show you this. Don't talk about yourself. In that first 3 seconds, that first line, hit them with a pain point. Hit them with something that you can help them with. Hit them with a new product you have that you know can change their world. Do that, and that's what I would recommend. Add follow-ups. A lot of people, I would say, get lazy and they don't add enough follow-ups. It takes 6 to 8 follow-ups for a cold prospect. Now, for a warmer prospect you might have met at a conference, it takes 3 to 5 follow-ups. So make sure you have those follow-ups, and these are all automated. So they'll go out no matter what until that prospect replies and says, yes, I'm interested, Shawn or John. So make sure you have those follow-ups. If you're not, you're missing out on a lot of opportunity. Now, this is something that John and I discussed, and you can have attachments. Attachments are good, but you don't want to have too many attachments. Therefore, if you're going to do a price increase, a case study, and 3, 4, or 5 attachments, don't put them all in one email. Separate them through your follow-up. So one might be, hey, I want to show you a new product spec. The next email, like, by the way, here's a case study. Don't put everything in one email because too many attachments and too large attachments will actually send you into the spam filter. Oh.
Shawn, when you say too large of attachments, what sizes typically do you think get through?
You know what? That's a great question, John. I don't know the exact size. Google does have restrictions in it. I don't know exactly what the restriction is. But when I say too many attachments, like 4 or 5, if you're sending 1, you're going to be fine. But if you're sending 4 or 5 and it adds up to, I forgot exactly what it was. I have to look it up because I'd be lying if I told you exactly what Gmail, but the Gmail does have a limit.
Yeah. It seems to me like it's like a 2 megabytes or something like that, right?
It's around there, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right, hang on. Sorry. Back to operation here.
Okay, so this is a good one. Do add emails. Guys, email is huge. If you have 10 sales reps that are sending somebody a text email, but you're the one sending a video email, you are going to stand out. Not only that, when you send that email, you'll receive an email with how long that prospect watched of that video. So one of our biggest clients I solved, and as you can see, this person watched 99% of the email. Well, I know he was interested. I want to give you a quick example of something I did. Sales reps love this one. Is I found 10 people that were VP of sales in my space that were named Mike. And what I did was I sent a personalized email saying, "Hi, Mike, I want to introduce you to this, etc., etc." It was sent to all 10 mics at the same time, but they thought it was a one-to-one email because I just found a list of 10 mics that are in my space that could be prospects. So you can be strategic with the video as well.
Yeah. And there any recommendations on lengths of videos or you know, anything like that? Yeah.
Great question. Never go over 75 seconds. The maximum is 90 seconds. And that is even if you're doing like a quick product demo. But if you're talking, I would try and do 30 to 60 seconds, short and sweet, because at the end of the day, you're not going to make money off that video. You're going to make money by getting on the phone with them after that call, after that email, and engaging with them and teaching them.
And Shawn, what you know, what are easy methods for this type of video platform?
Well, the easiest method is it's actually right in our platform and it's free. So you can actually send emails directly in the platform, do an A/B test. You can even test a text email versus a video and see which one works and then double down on what's worked. So there's simple ways. If you don't, there's tons of different platforms out there that also have video. There's Vidyard, as you can see. There's, I think, Loom. There's a few others, but it's easier to do right inside the platform. And I would recommend people start doing video. Because in the next 2-3 years, every sales rep will be on video. 30% of the workforce change job every 12 months. And I'll tell you that number is going to be increasing a lot after what's going on. What does that mean? You have to keep your CRM validated. If you're spending time emailing people that no longer work at a company, A, you could be wasting money with whatever platform you're using, but B, you're messing up your CRM and you're reaching out to people that no longer work at that company. So I always recommend that within 90 days, you need to validate if that person still works at that company. And then if that person does not work, you have the option to remove them or find out where they work and edit that context. Now you can reach out to them at their new position.
That's right. And you know, along those lines, Shawn, I think you know, that's where it really does become important, because I know, you know, several of us, including myself, in my old rep firm, we had 20 years worth of contacts in many cases.
Oh, yeah.
Most of the time they weren't there. So if we were to go out and try to mass blast this stuff just out of the gates, a lot of times we probably would hit that 10% bounce rate. So again, this is kind of a unique time where we're all out of the whirlwind, and this is a good time to work on those kinds of things like scrubbing your contact lists. Call up the receptionist or the switchboard at your customers and run down the list and see if those people are still there. You know, it's a tedious job, but it's something that will certainly pay dividends when all of this comes back. So.
And lastly, I think I mentioned this, A/B test. Always be testing. You want to be testing subject lines. You want to be testing your emails. You want to test a text versus a video. I can't explain how many times you need to test, because what you want to do is, it's like playing blackjack. You keep testing it. Whatever works, you double down when you get the hand. So if text is working for you, double down on text. If video is working for you, double down on video. But make sure you're always be testing, I say, instead of always be closing, always be testing.
Great. And then so part 4 is about how to build a targeted list. And a targeted list would be people, again, you know, that are people you're trying to get the word out to. Perhaps your manufacturer introduced a new product. Why not do a video and blast it out to the folks that you think would be interested? But how do you know, and how are you tracking who those folks might be at your various customers, your various distributors, and so on? And so a lot of that goes back to segmenting your customer base so that you're following things like the product interest and what kind of products that company manufactures, if they're an OEM or you know, if they're a contractor that you know, buys specific tools and so on and so forth, and starting to catalog that. Now, naturally, that's where systems like Repfabric help you a tremendous amount, because you can store all of that information and be able to target those lists in a very seamless fashion to the right people who are going to be interested in those products. So we're just trying to throw out some ideas for you here, but when you think about all the different industries that are out there, one of the first areas of segmentation that you want to do is to classify what industry the different customers are in. You know, are they a contractor, and are they residential? Are they an OEM? Are they in the telecom business? Are they in the military business? Are they in the medical business? So being able to segment your customer base, you're starting to narrow down the personalization that you need to be able to use and engage people on an email that is talking about their specific industry. And so everybody's very familiar with it. Most people haven't ever taken the time in their own contact databases to filter that down, but it's something that's very easy to do. And within Repfabric, it's literally open up the company record and tag it and say, hey, you're in this industry. Similarly, for contacts, you do the same type of thing, and you want to say, this guy's an electrical engineer, this person is a buyer, this, she's an architect, et cetera, and you start to classify those people so that, again, you're building these very narrow segmented lists that you can go after with a very high grain, highly personalized solution that will get you the appointments, and when that happens, and will get you the results that you're expecting to grow sales, even when you can't be out in front of them today. So when we talk about building a database, that's really what we're talking about, is taking that contact information. And for those of you that don't have a company-wide contact database, that's really the start. And for several Repfabric customers, as you guys know, once you've got that database that maybe you've collated from 20 different people's Outlooks, for example, or iCloud phone registries, once you get that stuff, then you can start to see the trends in the business and start to classify those people as such. Those classifications are really the people that you're dealing with day in, day out. And that is, for most reps, most of the time we're selling to the same folks over and over again. So being able to just continue to use this for new product introductions, to use it for opening up cold emails and doors that aren't open yet, for those folks that are in the back room that you never get to talk to. This is how this type of, these types of techniques, these types of platforms can benefit you. The other thing that happens is that many of us today, the world, if you're involved in the construction industries, for example, a lot of time, and less OEM focused, a lot of times you're looking for a good database of people who are contractors, of residential contractors, of roofers, of electricians, and so on and so forth. And that's where you can use things like Data Unlimited. That's one of Shawn's other companies that allow you to pull the real-time information for contractors that exist in the Connecticut market, for example. And so that's where, more of a B2C type of approach for the people that you're going after. You can use those types of databases, bring them into your CRM systems, and then continue to market them through this process for new products, announcements, and then ultimately scheduling appointments when we're back on the road again. Lastly, I would just mention, that it's really important to not only focus on the vertical, but focus on the best fit companies. And if you look at the companies where you're the most successful, who's doing the biggest sales dollars with you, understand their profile and take that profile and try to look through the rest of your databases and figure out, hey, this person's in military and telecom, so we sell really high-end high-end power supplies to support that business. Okay, well, who else has that? You continue to boil that down. Or, hey, these folks are buying this particular set of tools. Here's all the other companies that are cabinet makers that should be buying the same set of tools too. So that's the idea behind being able to segment and classify that, and then develop these campaigns moving forward. Shawn, do you want to take a couple of the others?
Yeah, so I would just say, at the end, what you want to do is you want to test your verticals, test your job titles, test your geography. Therefore, job titles might be different. Somebody might be a contractor, but they might also be called something else. So you want to make sure you're testing all those job titles to find out which one is actually opening the email and replying. And then at the end of the day, you want to double down what works. So I think John showed you a lot of different verticals, different industries that you could be reaching out to, and you want to also test the vertical. So as I can say, you want to double down what works, but keep testing.
Thanks. So one of the things that I wanted to point out is what we're getting ready to release here from a Repfabric perspective is really the blend of both worlds, of both that idealized database and opportunity tracker that allows you to segment your contacts and as I mentioned before, segmenting your contacts by industry, by what they purchase, by what types of people are there, who's electrical engineers, who's buyers, etc. Those contacts will directly port into the Autoklose system and will be updated in real time that way, so that even if you go out and you make a sales call and you tag somebody as an electrical engineer on your mobile app, for example, that will then immediately be into the Autoklose campaign, and they can be added to these individual campaigns that might be follow-ups, new product announcements, and so on. Once that happens and Autoklose sends one of those emails, what happens is when that person opens up that email, it's not just maintaining the contact list that's important, but it's the events of what happened in those things, because that's really where your leads come from. So when someone opens up an email and says, hey, I'm really interested in this new product that you just sent me information on, or you demoed to me in a video in the email, could you follow up with me on that? What's the pricing, etc.? That information back feeds into Repfabric's activity. Now, not every one of those is going to be something that's actionable, and it's sometimes interesting that they opened an email, but it's more interesting if they clicked on a link. And to have those links really become opportunities at that lead status, because you understand that someone's, that person's got an interest in that particular product. That's really an opportunity that can subsequently be followed up on by the salespeople. Likewise, it will be, surfaced for your manufacturer, so that if you're turning in a month-end manufacturer report, or you even need to sync it up to their CRM system like Salesforce, that's going to happen automatically. And so what we've really been working on is to give you guys, frankly, an unfair advantage, right? Where if you go through and from the start of how you classify people to the engagement and how you get them to respond to you, to ultimately the opportunities, and you continue to repeat this process. And if I go back to my injection molder analogy here in just a second, but if you complete that process, you're literally building an automation engine that's going to give you leads and start to control how you can make money even while you're sleeping. And that's really the ultimate goal. And so in that example, let's say that you were going to sell injection molded services to a series of OEMs and end users. If you were to go and start a campaign that might run a year and a half, 2 years, and every 3 months you've got a thing, hey, I know you weren't interested in this, back then because you didn't respond to me, but 3 months from now you are going to be interested in this. Can you respond to me? Who knows? A lot of the rep business is at least from my experience, it's all about, you need to be the guy standing there with the right product when the guy who has the business today falls down. Well, this is a great way to do that. So this is the example of the Autoklose integration. For our customers, we're going to have this rolling out here probably in the next few weeks as we finish different pieces of it. But this has been a key focus, especially as we're all adapting to the COVID-19 and selling from the inside out instead of typically, waking up in the morning, getting in your car and going. As we sell on the inside out, this type of thing is a great, a great productivity boost that we will be bringing to you guys very shortly. So with that, it's not free. But Shawn, maybe you want to talk a little bit about this?
Yeah, so with the integration and the partnership we just built, this is the offer we're going to be doing for Repfabric users or people who are here today listening in. We do have a starter package. It's usually $50 a month. It'll be for $30 a month, and if you want to buy it up front for the year, we will give you 50% off for $300. Now that a lot of the stuff John mentioned, but the video emailing, the follow-up, the automated follow-ups, checking the spam words, the A/B testing, all that will be there. And if anyone's interested or wants more information on the database or anything, you can click on that link right there. Just put your name and email, and then somebody will be in touch with you to kind of go through the platform and show you exactly how it works. But this is a special offer that we'll be providing just as we get started with our new partnership and as we launch out the integrations and continue to increase that integration.
Thanks. Well, thanks very much, Shawn. I just want to point out before everybody takes off here, again, tomorrow, if you want to learn more about what we do at Repfabric, come join us at 2:30. It's also posted on repfabric.com in our blog area, so all of our upcoming webinars are there for both our clients and our potential clients. And then also be sure to mark your calendar for John Vrablick. He's going to talk about the CARES Act and the employee retention tax credits that go with that. So if you're a rep manager, business owner, make sure you come join us for that one, because that one will be pretty interesting too, and how we can potentially help you pay for an Autoklose. So with that, thanks again to Shawn for joining us. If people have Q&A, I think if you do that in the questions and the chat area, we can respond to that.
Maybe John, maybe it's great to put that link in the chat, the link, so that people can see it, or even leave it on that slide so people can see it.
Yep.
That'd be great.
Here's that link.
Yeah, so that link, people can just put their first name and email, and that's all I think you need to put, and they'll kind of, we'll walk you through after that.
Yep, there is a questions item. So if you guys do have questions, I think we got that done, and that's not in the chat, but everything else is. So if anybody's got any questions. Oh, is this for one user or multiple?
So yeah, so that's for one user, but we do have volume discounts if you have more than one user. So if you put your name down, someone will be in touch with you, and we can go through volume users as well.
Yeah, so we will, where is this? Is this going to be a recording that will be presented later? Yes, it will be. It'll be available on our blog website, and we will probably have it in the next day or two posted there. Yeah, one of the items that came up as a question is Shawn never mentioned sending an email to more than 3 people at a company, but one of our largest customers is Motion Industries, and we have hundreds of contacts with the same domain, motionind.com. What do you recommend, Shawn?
I recommend you spread that out. So you can send a few, you just don't want to send them all at the same time. So say, for example, you schedule from, let's say from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and say you want to send 5. I would do 5, 10, 15 per day, but I would not send them all at the same time because they won't be delivered. So you have to spread those out over 2 weeks, etc., if you really want to reach out, because they're smart. These firewalls are smart, and if they see the exact same email going to too many recipients at the same company, they just won't put them through.
Gotcha. Another great question. Sales engagement emails, are you limited if you do a mail merge? So I think the mail merge is the classic Word document shooting out of Outlook.
Yeah,
right?
So basically I mean, you automate that mail merge inside Autoklose. Now we put 500 emails as a maximum per day. So you can send up to 500 emails. That means you might have 100 initial emails going out. You might have some follow-ups from a different campaign going out, but your maximum from the account will be 500. Even though Gmail might allow you more, our system will only let you send 500.
Right. Another great question. Do all the social icons count in terms of your links against the spam filters?
Great question. I do not believe they do. But I will confirm that, but I do not believe they do. When they say too many links, I mean, they're more worried about your body of your email. But if your signature does have your website and then your email, etc., I always put them in my signature, just not as a link. But I do not believe social will count towards it because those are hyperlinked underneath the image.
Okay. What's a good cadence for follow-ups?
Great question. Here's what I recommend and what works for me. As I mentioned, you want to make everything personalized. So I always tell people your initial email should be no more than 75 to 125 words. And now your follow-up email should be only 2 to 3 sentences. And what I mean by that is, for example, say your first follow-up is going to go on a Friday. I would write, just checking in as we, like say you do a price increase, just checking in as we close out the week to make sure you got the price increase. Because you say, just checking in as we close out the week, on a Friday, it's very personalized. On a Monday, just checking in as we start the week. So stuff like that that makes the reader feel like it's a one-to-one email on that specific day really works well. But that's what you want to be putting in those cadences, but keeping them very short and sweet and not long.
Yep. There's a question, would Autoklose work with ACT?
With Acton software.
It's a CRM system.
Yeah, so yes, we do.
Yeah.
We do it through Zapier or PySync, so it would not be a native integration. Obviously, like us in Repfabric will be having. It will be, you'll have to sign up for Zapier or PySync and use those apps.
And we prefer to convert you to Repfabric from ACT, which we can do. Turnkey.
Exactly. Where we have a native integration.
Yeah, that's it. Do you recommend Dodge or Hoovers for contact names?
Neither.
Yeah.
I recommend Autoklose because we've built our own database. So if you want roofing contractors, anything like that, fill out that form. We'll reach out to us or send me an email, Shawn@autoklose.com, and I can get you a quote. But DMB and Hoovers have decent. I mean, ZoomInfo's got great data. There's a lot of them out there. You just have to be careful. Like ZoomInfo is going to charge you an arm and a leg, whereas some people are going to charge you really cheap, but you don't want to get the really cheap ones because they're going to be giving you a huge bounce rate. So you want validated emails. I can only speak on our behalf, but if you're interested, I can more than help you get you an account and a quote for you.
Yep. Once you've been blacklisted by a recipient's company, how do you repair it?
So usually it's like a firewall or somewhere, and this is a little more technical, but from what my experience is, you have to contact your provider and have them get you off the blacklist. So they're going to email you, you email them, they're going to say, oh, okay, are you sending cold emails, et cetera, et cetera. You say, no, we're sending legit, I don't know why, and then they'll remove you from the blacklist. But that's the only way that I believe, but I would, don't take me up on that one because I'm not the most technical guy when it comes to that.
Can the system reach into LinkedIn?
Amazing question. Soon. We are hoping to, we actually are looking at, it won't be till probably Q4, but we're looking to integrate with LinkedIn. The only thing with LinkedIn is a lot of people on LinkedIn sign up with their personal email. I know I do, with their Gmail, Hotmail, or Yahoo account, where we like to try and have people send with their B2B emails in our database at least. So we're looking for an integration. We're looking to build a Google Chrome plugin with them, but we currently don't have it, but I hope to have it soon.
Yeah, and we've done a lot of research on LinkedIn at Repfabric too, and they're very closed in their database. They do a lot of work even to not even allow you to scrape information off of their website too. So it's a challenging one, and you really pretty much have to show up with a big paycheck. When the last time we looked at it, it was over $1,000 a month in order to have access to the APIs, which for many rep firms is unlikely that you guys would be willing to pay.
And they recently they've been sending out a lot of cease and desist. So if they do catch you doing anything that they don't like you doing, like scraping, etc., they have lists and lists of companies that they're going after.
That's right. How many people or how many emails justifies using an autoklose?
I mean, you can have 50. It depends on how you use it. If you really want to automate those follow-ups, so you can have those emails be going out while you're trying to close business. I mean, you can have a database of 100. You can have a database of 1,000. It's completely up to you how many contacts you want to put in. At this price, you got to look. It's also the time savings you're going to be using by using that tool and automating those follow-ups, so you don't have to remember to do them. So, I mean, we have people that use them with 25. We have people that use 2,500.
Yep. How do you define the email being opened?
So that's a great question. So the email is opened is either on their mobile or desktop that they actually view the email. So they have to click and actually open it to consider it an opened email. If they just look at it on their phone and they see your subject line in your body, it's not an open. So it has to be clicked, and that's the way we do it. So same with replies, it has to be reply, and even click rate is they have to actually click on the link that's on your email.
Gotcha. What about blind copying multiple contacts in a company?
Amazing. We do it all the time. So what I would do, I mean, you don't have to do it with Repfabric, but for if somebody is using another CRM, which you shouldn't be, you can BCC it back to that that CRM. So with our native integration, you won't have to, but we do have a BCC feature that you can BCC everything back. We use it for ourselves internally, and a lot of companies use it. So yes, inside the platform you can BCC.
And in Repfabric, you don't even have to do that. But I think this question was more, hey, I want to send a mass blast email to one person, but then BCC all of the other people at that same company that they would be interested in it as well.
Oh,
send it to myself and BCC everybody, right?
You can do that because in our settings you can choose and put
I don't
the
think
BCC.
they're saying do that in Autoklose. I think they're saying do that. In
general.
Historical method they've maybe done in Outlook where they'll say send it to myself and BCC. On it.
Yeah.
Does that work?
That's something I don't know actually.
My experience is that usually ends up in spam and not.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that will work.
Yep. Okay. Well, I think that's about it, guys. So we're running right up to our number here, and thanks everybody for coming. Again, if you can join us, this presentation will be posted on our website. Happy selling and be safe, be well. Thank you again, Shawn, for joining us. It's great to have you here, and you've been a real wealth of information for all of us, and we look forward to hearing more about Autoklose and Repfabric together here soon.
Thanks, John, for having me, and hope everyone got some tips and tricks and some knowledge out of me today. And hopefully everyone stays safe and keeps closing.
That's it. All right, guys. Thanks very much. Take care.